wherever you're comfortable.
I don't fight.
That's a tough flavor.
How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right.
Keep that up, Mr. Kite, we might have to ask you to leave. Spread rumors like that.
Anybody want a hard copy?
I have one, thank you.
It's a ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's done to confuse people.
Although we need to write.
You can pick any seat.
I can pick any seat. Well, these are jolly comfy. Rich, I'll let sit next to you because he's more important than I am.
Okay.
Will you have time to just glance at that memo thing after this meeting? Wendy told me that there's an additional piece of work that I'm supposed to be doing, which is send off this memo after meetings.
It'll depend on what we conclude. The only reason to do the memo is if we decide to approve any of the ordinances.
Right, but I'm
But if
supposed
we
to
come
be
to a point where we don't,
understood. But I think I'm supposed to be doing this after every meeting, and I haven't been.
oh, you mean as far as,
Sorry, there's really nothing to do with the meeting at all. Wendy sent this out. So this is a secretarial thing. That apparently I'm supposed to be filling out after each meeting as a memo of any things we approve.
yeah, I think, I believe Barbara used to do that, but I never paid attention.
Okay, so my best bet
But
is
I can help you do that.
talk to Wendy about it or talk to
Well, we can talk about it afterwards.
Okay, afterwards. It's not super important. I know.
If there's anything that needs to be recommended. And I
Right.
don't know, I don't know how this meeting will go.
No, me neither.
Very much, scoot down.
I know.
Oh, here's my. Finished. Okay.
Those copies of the comprehensive plan, if anybody wants some, I don't need one.
I'll have a think.
And it's online. It- Some people like real paper.
I'll take that under advisement. Okay.
This is just a plan status report of all the plans we did this year. And I'll try to bring one every month. So, really quick, it's just the top, excuse me. The top is the pending plan, so we still have 2 pending plans. I marked down what type of plan, one's a land development, one's a subdivision. If we grant an extension, and then what the action deadline is, that'd be the 90 days, or if they got an extension, what the supervisor's deadline is to make a decision, and then what the planning commission deadline is. So, Operation Second Chance and Mitchell need to have a decision by 15 September. not saying we can't do it before that if everything gets done, but that's when we have to, unless they ask for another extension and get it, that's when we have to make a final recommendation. And then below that is the approved plans that we did this year.
Okay, very
Below
helpful.
that, if there was any disapproved plans, which, you know, it happens, I would put them underneath that. So,
Thank you.
Remind me of the second chance status, like, I know there was concern about,
well, they fell in one of those weird loopholes where they gave the comment, they submitted the plans, but it was like the day of the previous meeting or like, and then just, so what happened was like, we only had last month's meeting, we would have had made a decision because their 90 days ended like 2 days before the Board of Supervisors meeting. So if you remember last month, they put in for a extension, you guys recommended it, the board approved it, so they got an extension of time.
And you gave some helpful advice, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah. So.
but there was issues they had to work out before.
Oh, yeah, so there were some zoning issues that they needed to work out that I brought up and the zoning officer brought up. We had a meeting, with the zoning officer, with, the supervisors, and, long story short, they're gonna end up registering as non-conforming.
Okay. But the action is in their hands.
Yeah, yeah. But they're gonna end up registering as non-conforming, and then as we get further along, you know, with our, amendment changes, you see one of the changes is actually put that as specific use into the zoning ordinance, you know, a retreat camp.
Which
And
is
this
sort of-
way, they don't have to keep going, you know, if they wanna put up a shed, they gotta, cause we just don't have nothing in the ordinance about it.
Which is sort of what you advise them to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So now it's just getting all the paperwork, crossing the i's, dotting the t's, so.
I know that, I'm just wondering where everybody was, because I had got a message.
I don't think anybody's gonna be here. I mean, Michael Moore, I would assume would come, because it's a
Right.
sketch plan, but I don't think Mitchell or Second Chance are gonna be here.
Well, I wasn't expecting them, but I was expecting some of our,
Like Chris or so.
yeah, Chris usually shows up, and also, I got a message from, I just forgot his name. Our other member,
Luther.
yeah, he should be there. Yeah, that's me.
Is this the right here?
That's
Yeah.
me too, yeah.
Has
Because he just sent me a message, which made me think he'd be here.
Well, yeah, I don't
From
know.
Stacy.
But we have a forum, so. Yeah,
It's recorded. It's recorded.
Oh, I know that.
Does it record as soon as somebody walks in the
No,
door?
it's on a timer,
Oh, a timer, okay, that's good, okay,
and it probably started before 6:30, I don't know exactly when it comes on.
okay.
So I'll call the meeting to order then, so.
6:32. I'll do a roll call, shall I?
Yes,
Rich
I'm here.
and Ken
Here.
and Sherry and I call you Don.
Yeah, Tom's fine.
I'm English, so I sort of want to say Dominique because we normally do full names.
Just don't touch them.
My family calls me Dominic, my friends call me Dom.
Well, it's a good name, Dominic. Okay.
Thank you.
No show is so far is Luther.
So the first thing is the meeting minutes. And they were distributed by Wendy. Did everybody get those? Any comments? Not, anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from June?
So moved.
A second?
Is anybody seconding? I'll second, even though I wrote them. Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments about the minutes?
I do. I'm very embarrassed that I've been spelling Chris's name wrong, and nobody noticed it, and people had approved the minutes with the name spelt wrong, which I finally caught. And now when I see him, I did correct them after we approved them, but nobody said a word. I was so embarrassed.
It's the topic.
Okay, moving on.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so minutes are approved. I don't know, have any comments? Public? So, starting down the old business, I actually was gonna let, Michael Moore talk at the beginning if he was here, but since he's not, because I didn't wanna have him sit around all the way to the end. So as far as the Southwest Joint Comprehensive Plan, and Wendy did print a couple copies of it. If anybody wants one, feel free to take it. It's also available on the website, it's Township's website. So I usually, if I wanna look at it, I'll look at it there. But those are there.
I'll take one if nobody else is interested.
And then the second thing, as far as status, the county has set up a meeting for the review and update of the plan that is tomorrow, and I'll be going to that. So it's sort of a kickoff meeting. I don't expect, from what I've understood in the past, that it's gonna be, the updates could be more like looking at some of the demographic data and things like that. This was published in 2015, so some of that data is very outdated. So a lot of the effort is going to be just bringing that up to date as opposed to changing the context of the plan. But once I have a meeting tomorrow, in future meetings here, I'll try to keep people up to date with what's going on with that.
What time and with whom is the meeting?
Meetings with the county and representatives of the other municipalities that are part of this plan, which,
Okay.
I know it's Fairfield, I forget,
Big Highland, Hamilton Band, and Freedom.
or something like that.
Okay,
So anyway, so there'll be representatives of them.
okay, thank you.
So the Saldo zoning ordinance, that was referring back to when we did the, accessory apartments and things of that nature. And there hasn't been any response or action by the supervisors on what we submitted. So the Andrew Mitchell, I think we just need a motion to table that, because you know action.
Right.
So if somebody wants to make a motion to table that,
Motion to okay.
Go ahead and I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion to table the Andrew Mitchell subdivision plan.
and there was a second, so all in
Yes.
favor?
Yes, all in favour, yes.
And I guess same thing with second chance, there's nothing, no action, so we just need to table that,
Moved.
I'll second it.
okay?
So Ken was that, Ken made
Ken
the first
moved,
motion? Okay, Ken moved, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so there's a couple zoning ordinance amendments that we've gotten. One is for the data centers. What was the second one? This is the
Conservation
Yeah.
and a retreat.
Yeah, might as well start her off, well, actually, that's 7B2, but probably just be easier to just take them one at a time,
Yeah,
and we'll just go down. So, we'll just focus in on the data centers. So, just so everybody understands, briefly what occurred was the township did a data center drew up a data center amendment to the zoning ordinance. they issued it, they sent it to county came back with a lot of, recommended changes, et cetera. And then what the township did was basically take county's recommendations, and county sort of rewrote them in ordinance, and then that was what Wendy sent to us a few days ago as a revision to what she sent previously for planning commission. So what you would be making a decision on is the new ordinance that, or new amendment that basically county wrote, which then would take care of all their county comments from the previous.
Are the other townships using that as their basis?
Yeah, I mean, yes, this is what county is recommending to basically all the townships in Adams County.
So that takes care of allowing them, but having the requirements
Correct.
in order to do it.
Correct.
That would
So
make
it would go in as a conditional use into the industrial zone, industrial commercial zone.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then it takes care of, you know, it talks in here about doing water studies and noise studies and traffic and et cetera, decommissioning, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
You know, and then,
So your review of it, does it make sense that we would approve that?
to me, yes. And I've also seen this in 5 or 6 other townships I work for, and it's almost identical, just a little tweak here and there for each individual township.
Mhm.
And like you said, it's basically what county is every time a township goes to county and says you have anything about data centers, this is what they're recommending.
Sure, you've looked at this.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see why Wendy said no when I asked if she can just highlight the differences. Cause I didn't even, I just like got burnt out. I've spent like 5 AM to 10 PM trying to go word for word, and there's some things that are in there, but I have a few, so let's just start out with a new one. If you go down to
Before you
1, 2.
start, I
Oh,
just
okay,
wanna
I'm
make
sorry.
a comment that we received this yesterday.
Right.
It hasn't been a couple days, we just received it.
Yesterday.
And to my mind, it's a little bit over, it's a big expectation that we should just approve it tonight. Because we've had really less than 24 hours to even look at it.
Well,
So,
you could do one of two things. One, you have to, this is your, I hate saying it this way, is, you know, the public hearing is already scheduled for in 2 or 3 weeks, I think, or at the next supervisors meeting. So, you either make a recommendation now, or, and this is what I highly suggest, you all appoint someone to speak at the public hearing. You'd have to go to public hearing, that's August 5th at 6 p.m. Whoever you appoint has to go to a public hearing, and then in writing have like your list of things, and you can represent, not a citizen, as the planning commission. Because if any of you can all go to public hearing, but if you go to public hearing and say, I'm with the planning commission, they're gonna ask you, are you speaking for the planning commission, or are you speaking as a resident? The only way you can speak for the planning commission is if you all vote to appoint someone to actually be there, and then have your comments in writing, which then buys you 2-3 weeks for you to make sure you get all your comments together. And then you don't have to get all the comments
but
specifically
it's also
to
saying
them.
the supervisors gave this to us with the expectation we have to approve it.
You are recommending, or you can recommend whatever you want.
But we're not approving, all we're doing is recommending the supervisor.
You're
We're
recommending-
Supervisors are the ones
But
that
it seems to
actually,
me a little premature for them to go ahead and schedule a hearing before they even send it.
I
out
think this is where you
review.
see this is happening in Pennsylvania or other states where it just slides through, and then you have these massive data centers sitting in somebody's backyard because no one actually pays attention to these meetings, and things fly through, and there's a lot of officials higher up in these
There's nobody advocating data centers there.
Right.
It's just,
But in my research, and this is just information, I'm not saying which way we should err on doing what, but in my research, they're saying that if the townships have something in place before a data center proposes something to us, and then the data center has less, what do I wanna say, in court, it couldn't stand up. It's not like they're coming in here and they're gonna present to us and we have nothing in writing, and then we hurry up and put together a data thing, and then they're like, okay, we did that just because we did that. So we
No,
do wanna push it.
I totally agree.
But I agree with you, it was like, what, I mean, and then the difference is, we went from what, was it 16 or 17 pages down to 7? I mean, there's a lot of things taken out, there was, setbacks were changed, I don't agree with the setbacks, I think the setback should have even been more than what was in that one that she said to disregard. But I mean, we can go over that, I've got things going out, I mean, just in typed up errors, like not changing anything, just stuff that they need to add to it to keep it uniform with what they had before. But you're saying a supervisor is the only person that could speak at the public forum?
No.
Okay, one of us could.
Anybody that lives in Liberty Township can show up and speak.
Right,
What I'm saying is, if you want a voice of the planning
Right.
commission, then you all should appoint
One
one
of us.
person to make sure that they go, and then say, I am here representing the planning commission,
Okay.
here's our comments. Now, hypothetically, they appoint Ken to do that, you could still show up and say, I am a citizen, here is my comments.
okay.
But
Got
you
it.
can't just show up and represent as being the
Correct,
planning
I
without, that's all I'm
Approval
saying.
of the
Correct.
planning commission.
I mean, that's why I understand you didn't have a lot of time with this. I fully understand it, and that's why I'm suggesting you appoint someone. You don't make decisions via internet or anything like that, but whoever you appoint, again, hypothetically, you appoint Rich. B can sit there, type up 5 comments, send them to Rich, and Rich can say, these are our comments as a planning commission. B says X, Y, and Z. Ken says X, Y, and Z. Sherry says A, B, C. And I say X, Y, and Z. And this is all of our comments as the planning commission.
I think that's a good idea.
Then this way, you don't have to sit here for 5 hours tonight. I'm not trying to rush the meeting, but you can digest this a little bit. You have a couple weeks, not many, but you have
Right.
a couple weeks to form that. And you can always get it to the supervisors before the hearing and say these are public comments for a planning commission, and you can show up to just maybe reiterate them or whatever you want to do.
Did our attorney type this up, or you're saying the county had,
The attorney typed up the original. I believe county put this one in the formatting.
does
If-
our attorney
if-
have to approve it, or just us?
Well, the attorney is just like me, just like you. We recommend. The attorney will say, I recommend you do X, Y,
We're
and
not
Z. This
approving
is it.
anything, we're just.
Right. The only people who
We're
could-
sending it to the supervisor.
The only
Yes,
people who
you're
could
exactly-
truly
you're
approve
exactly
anything
right.
is
So we're saying that we've reviewed it,
Correct.
we feel that it's
This,
okay,
this, and that,
or we
right.
make these comments.
Right,
Mhm.
and then they do.
Mhm.
But you're right, we only had,
I think a lot of residents would like to know what's in this ordinance that,
do what?
I'm sure there's a lot of residents that would love to know what's in this ordinance.
Right.
So when they advertise,
well,
they have to provide
it'll be
copies.
public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Published.
I mean, yes, you're right, it's only right, they're putting it in the commercial industrial zone.
That was a big thing I did
However,
like.
There's a lot of property that joins that,
Mhm.
And there's
I
stipulations.
don't disagree.
but very small setbacks.
The setbacks are going to, I believe the setbacks are going to be the underlying zoning district setbacks, which is the commercial ones. When they try to put it in with, I think 300 feet or 200 feet, county made the point that you don't have property out there that can meet those setbacks. So what ends up happening is that's what's called a regulatory taking. Meaning we put the rules so hard, you can't bring your business in. That's illegal. So it's just like taking your property without just compensation. A regulatory taking is the same thing. We made it so hard you can't put it in there, and the way the state runs, we have to allow for every use. So that's why we can't, you know, in that zone, we can't sit there and say we want these huge setbacks when none of the properties can meet
And
it.
that was the essence of Rob Taylor's initial comments.
That
was-
and other things very similar to that, and then, you know,
This thing, they're putting on restrictions, that
Well,
just,
But
which,
you should have
which,
enough-
which then means the data center could say, we can't go there, you don't allow it because of your thing, so we could go anywhere in the township we want, and then that just nullified the fact that we put it into the commercial industrial zone, and that could go, I'm not saying you want it or don't want it, but that could go right across the street here or right next to your house.
No one was inside their house.
But
Right.
but I wouldn't want it
I
15
understand.
minutes or 15 feet from my kid's swing set or something. I mean,
well,
data
it would
centers,
be,
data centers are something that's none of us are experienced with. I mean,
I mean, there is the underlying setbacks, they have to do the noise, and then I know I saw in here, there's a buffer yard, which is,
I think
Yeah,
they reduced
well,
that, they reduced that too.
The
They
water is a
reduced
big
it.
thing.
and
The
then,
water of the reclaiming the water versus a closed loop system versus a,
Okay, so I'm not there yet, sir.
oh, God, sorry.
I'm
So-
ready to begin anytime.
and we do
you
make
have-
them do a water study, and it's all in here.
Why did we change it from,
so,
why did we change it the loop system? They took out.
I
they
didn't
were
work on
closed.
I did not work on the original, and so.
And who'd you say worked on that first one, that one that Wendy's just told us to disregard the last one that was 17
I think
years?
that was, I think that was the
to
board.
just address,
and-
as far as that loop system goes, the part in here about water usage should address any concerns about the type of cooling they use. Because if they use an evaporative cooling system, then their water usage is gonna be much higher, and then they've gotta show that the township can actually, and the write-up on the water use, so you're getting them on the water usage, not the technology they're using to do the job they need to do. And the other thing is, a small data center might just use air to cool equipment, in which case you don't have the closed loop fluids and all that stuff, so, I think putting the restrictions on the source of what that we don't want them to abuse, which water being the case, by doing all the analysis on water usage, it covers that.
So that's gonna be in their proposal, they're gonna tell, it's open-ended, so the supervisors are gonna get a bid from them or something saying, well, this is the type we're gonna plan on using. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is basically, I don't think the township can dictate specific technologies of how we build a facility.
I would think you could,
but
because
The
it's.
chance of this township
I-
having any data center proposed, you don't have the energy and you don't have the water. And the chances of a data
I
center
agree.
coming here
I agree.
are so remote. I mean, that's the reality.
I agree, there could be
Okay.
that 1%, and I always look at that 1%, what happens?
Well, the other thing is it could be, there's nothing here about, we envision these pictures we see of these huge data centers. It might not be, it might just be a smaller satellite facility.
It could be.
But anyway, do you have specific comments you want to
I
raise?
do, so like on this new one, this isn't a discrepancy for me, okay, so they need to add the battery energy storage systems to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th and 6th. You know, we're talking about the data centers and battery energy storage, so in the original one that we were told to disregard, it has battery energy storage systems at the end of both of those. They may wanna add that, they maybe not, to address it, they're doing that. If you look on the second,
Before we go too
Okay.
far, at some point, can you put these comments in writing, because
oh, yeah,
I don't think
oh,
Beatrice-
absolutely, for you,
I don't think
don't even
Beatrice
try to
will
write it
be able
down.
to keep
That would be very
it.
useful.
Don't even try to write it down,
Bullet
just
points.
type it all up and I'll send it out.
Bullet points be handy.
Yep. Everything I say right now, I'll put it in a bullet point and I'll send it out to a group,
Okay,
okay? But if you look at the second page, they have duplicates. So if you look at A, they talk about my building has more than one principal facade. Well, number 2 below there is exactly the same verbiage, so they can either scratch out number 2 or scratch out that in the paragraph, cause it kinda looks non-professional. We already talked about reducing, they went from 100 to 50 feet on that buffer yard requirement, 200 to 50 foot from any property line or structure on the property lines, that I don't care for. The loading docks went from 400 foot to 200 foot, I don't agree with that one either. The decommissioning part, I really liked what they had in the first one where that the township had some control over it. So we can't do anything, that thing can sit there for a year before we can then do something about it if we don't hear anything for a year. The first one, I don't know if you read it or not, but we could, go and look at it, they had some money reserves, and if they didn't do the decommissioning like they were supposed to, then we use those reserve funds to do the decommissioning ourselves, that sort of thing. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but they took that out, but right now it's like, and then what about the permits to disassemble? They didn't say who's responsible for those permits unless that's gonna be someplace else, like a requirement, like, I don't know, the agreement between the township and this data center, who's gonna pay for the permits you would assume, but we know what happens when you assume who's gonna pay for the permitting. The previous one had that they were gonna pay for all permits, but they took that part out. Go to L for the water supply. I think they took the wrong word out, correct me if I'm wrong, they had geologist, a professional geologist instead of a hydrologist,
No, a geologist,
does rock study.
no, but they have a good understanding of water tables and where the water is underground, so
You don't wanna do the hydrologist that does the water?
No,
Okay.
you typically use
Okay.
geologist.
No, I'm layman when it comes to that, just say
No.
it like that. Okay.
geologist is.
That's good. Let's see here. We can just look at this last one. And I'm concerned about and it's only, we don't mention how many acres is needed in the revised copy that we have, how many acres?
It's based on the underlining zoning district, so whatever the minimum lot size is in the zoning district, that's what they have to do. And then you have things like lot coverage requirements.
So that's all covered and will be part of
That's
the
already
plan.
covered in the commercial industrial zone.
Okay, and like I said, I didn't get a chance to do all of it, I did a lot of it to see what was what, but there was a lot taken out of the original. Now, will we have anything covering the old one, this one doesn't, about if they do use one of the loop systems and like the closed loop and they have to flush it, that's all gonna be someplace written in the agreement of what they're gonna do. I know they're gonna use chemicals then to try to take care of the chemicals that they have running in that loop system all the time, but again, we're talking about chemicals being dumped into the ground. But who takes care of that? I mean, do we have anything anywhere outlining what they're gonna use and how they're gonna do it? Or are we just gonna say the DEP has to handle that in some way?
We don't know what they're proposing, and then if DEP has regulations, yeah, then they have to follow regulations, DEP or the state or county or any government that has regulations on it. It's gonna be a conditional use, so that the other aspect is they have to come into the supervisor sort of plan and ask, to have the use, and supervisors can add conditions on during that hearing.
Oh, that's a good thing to know.
So,
But they would not be dumping any water into the ground.
right,
That would be generally prohibited by any.
I don't mean to, I'm just like having a discussion, I don't mean to be
Right.
combative in any
No.
way, but will that be spelled out somewhere in the document agreements, like
I
between
think
them and
there's
us?
already regulations in place that.
Oh,
would
with the
be-
DEP people?
Yeah,
Okay, alright, that's good.
but the other thing is, and a closed loop system, if there's anything in there they just have chemicals to help prevent corrosion within the system and preventing deposits of,
Oh, I know
so
what they are.
they,
They're forever chemicals. Yeah, people like me have very bad issues to them with chemicals. That's why we have a farm. But anyways, it's not good. It's not good for our environment or if it gets into the wells. But
But
if
if
they're not
they-
gonna dump it, then that's good.
if it's necessary for treatment of the fluid,
Right.
they would, if there's no way to do something on site, they would probably have to get the whole thing dumped into a tank or and take it someplace where they would have to be
Okay.
able to do the treatment. But I think DEP would cover that. They're not gonna just be able to like open the thing and dump it on their parking lot or something like that.
But also right here, wastewater management, the applicant should demonstrate the township adequate means of wastewater disposal, any domestic wastewater as well as wastewater used for cooling and industrial purposes. Would that cover it?
Yeah.
Which section are you looking at
It's the last page,
of the new one?
yes, it's, oh. On the
Wastewater management?
Yes,
Yeah,
and it mentions cooling and industrial purposes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's see here. And the original one, whoever put that one together had reason to put, we don't know why, agricultural securities area law, and that was taken out in the revised copy. And I know that's about how preservation of land, things like that, we don't know why they took that out, do we?
I do not, but your commercial industrial zone is not really,
Preserved,
and it's not really ag,
okay.
so it really probably shouldn't have been in there
Okay,
regardless.
okay,
is
so
that it?
what do you wanna do? That's all I have right now for that. Do you wanna,
Okay.
are we gonna
Well,
table it?
some of the things that I had, there's some things in here that are written in specific for a data center, but I think they are applicable to a broader category of facilities. So, example like the water usage analysis, to me, that should be separate from under data centers, that any facility that will require significant water usage or whatever, even a big housing development should be required to go through
The housing
that
or water
process.
study at all? Sure.
So,
And aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff in the Saldo about water resource management that if, you know, a
But
big
that
housing
should be-
development, they have to do.
that should be an umbrella that should cover data centers, it shouldn't.
Uh,
My concern is if you spell out.
I understand what you're saying, but I think data centers is using so much water as compared to almost any other use, that's why they wanna make sure it's in the zoning ordinance and
Maybe.
put it.
Because they don't need to use water for cooling. They
They
can
don't.
use mechanical equipment.
But we're not specifying they have to use that. They could use the water.
I mean, if they wanted to build something and the water wasn't available, it costs more, but they can do mechanical cooling without water consumption.
Yeah, I understand what you're
So-
saying. You could say just pull it out of there and put it in the ordinance generically.
But my concern is if you had some other form of a commercial facility that was gonna be in the industrial area and had significant water usage or something, if they're not obliged to follow this, they should be. It should be regardless of what the facility is for. So, to me, when you put it specific to data centers, you're really pointing to say, we're concerned about your water usage, but nobody else's.
We are. I am.
But is it,
Like I said, I think you can recommend if you wanted to pull the water resource study out of this specific section and put it into the zoning ordinance for all uses.
But then we're gonna have to redo the zoning ordinances also to do
Well,
this.
they're redoing the zoning ordinance anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
This amendment to it anyway.
that really makes sense.
And I have the same thing with traffic study. If
Yes.
you have if you had somebody come in here with a warehouse, with a bunch of trucks going through and everything,
Well,
they
here-
should also be
yeah,
required.
here is the one difference though. This doesn't start off, this starts off at 0 traffic, 0 gallons, 0 period. We're not gonna say to a 3-lot subdivision, do a water study.
No,
We have
no,
we have to start it at some.
right,
This takes it as regardless of how much, even if you're using 0 water, you're still doing a water study because you're a data center.
and I don't think that makes sense.
Well, they can ask for a waiver when they go to the thing and say, we're not using water, can we get a waiver of doing this? And you would think they would grant that. But same with a traffic study or a noise study, like regardless, you know, everywhere else you don't necessarily start at 0. This starts at 0. Like just because of what you are, you're doing it, that's it.
Which I think is legally could be easily challenged, because you're,
Everybody does it that way.
I
mean,
disagree.
all-
That's it. Everybody's doing this. That's.
I think it's went through challenges. I mean, you can
Right.
require specific uses to do specific things.
That's why Rob made his comments that he did. I mean, Rob has experience.
oh, I know that, I trust that. But I would also like other facility development to do traffic studies, not just data centers.
I
And
understand.
along the same lines, the other one's exterior lighting. If you put in some other type of industrial facility, I think there should be a global
But we do
exterior
have
lighting.
lighting in the south.
Does it cover all the industrial ones? And
It
what-
may not cover all the industrial ones, where it basically states as parking lots, you have to put in lighting if they're utilized at night. And then the generic, hey, if you're going to light, you can't, has to be shielded downwards, it can't be flashing on other people's property or the road. And when something like this comes in, we'll request a lighting plan. And then they give us a plan, if you ever seen one, it's just a lot and has a bunch of 1s, 0s, and 2s on it, and that's the power that the light's giving off, and everywhere around that, your property border should be 0.
So then the data center should be able to just use that, the generic one.
They could, but a lot of times, again, the saldo says if you're going to do the lighting because of a parking lot or something like that. This is saying you're doing it regardless.
Their lighting is 24/7.
Correct. Most of the time,
24/7,
yes.
and the people, if there's anyone that lives near them, they're never gonna have a dark nighttime, 24/7. I think that, I don't, like I said, if you have the data, if you have this thing in place and then they come here, then they have a hard time fighting us in court. But if we just pass it after they submit, hey, I want a data center, and then we try to hurry up and scramble to do it, then that's when these townships and things that I've been reading and watching these videos, and I've watched many, then that's when you could have a leg up on us in court.
Isn't that what we're doing?
And we're doing it now, yeah, we need to do it now,
That's exactly the point.
so that we
and-
shouldn't
and
have a
we have-
problem.
Yeah.
What we specify that they have to do, because none of us, this is uncharted territory for that's why we're all rushing and doing it. That's why even, I think Shapiro wanting a mandatory, they're trying to get a moratorium so that they can, all of us townships can get together and get our crap together, and then we can say we've got it all done, and then if the data center wants to come anywhere, then we've already done what we need to do. We don't have to scramble and say, what do you want?
It wasn't Shapiro.
Huh?
It wasn't Shapiro.
Who was it?
It's in the house, there's a building
Oh,
house,
okay.
but it
Sorry.
wasn't Shapiro's. Shapiro's the opposite way. He wants to give tax breaks and everything else for them.
They're pulling those tax breaks back. There's a bill right now to pull the tax breaks back. It passed the House, it's gotta go to the Senate.
But you need-
Quick question, John. Go back to Rich's thing about all these water usage and traffic and lighting. How much of it is standard in Saldo? I mean, how much would it be?
We have most of that stuff in the south. We just don't have it as in detail as this would have.
You
So-
still have to comply
Still have to comply,
with the South.
but this is more specific details based
No, I get it.
more
I'm-
specifically for a data
I'm all
center.
about it, I was just sort of
Yeah.
following up from Rich's point,
I mean, like, if you got a Walmart or something, you know, that was proposed in here, we have enough in the Saldo and the zoning that they would still do a lighting, probably not a water study, but we would ask them how much water. But now, if at one of your farms you wanted to put in a duck farm or a chicken farm, you know, that's let's just say 20,000 chickens, you're using crazy water, and we'll have the mechanism currently to require them to do a water study.
sure.
When that across the street went in, we had a mechanism based on the Saldo to make them do a water study for the big land development. This is just more very specific
Now,
for a data center.
does that sort of satisfy your query, Rich, about the water?
But we're not recreating something that hasn't already been done.
Correct. This is, you know, again, it's standard in Adams County, and then the underlining stuff, the water studies, the traffic studies are what's typically done
Yeah.
throughout the state and maybe even the country for a lot of this stuff. They're just typical studies that everybody has to do.
See, I was on this board before, okay? One of the reasons I left was because we had professionals making recommendations to us of how things should be set up. And every time we got together, we were rewriting them. And I don't have the expertise to do it. That's why I rely on individuals like Rob Thaler that has the expertise and is working with other groups to do this and present it to us. So, I mean, I'm just telling you where I'm coming from, because I'm not rewriting all this stuff.
I'm not planning on rewriting it.
No, yeah, but that's some of the
I-
things,
I am
that's what,
I'm suggesting that this could be incorporated better to cover things that are not data centers but may have similar impact.
Sure.
Maybe they
but
don't have
right now,
water
we're
impact.
talking about the data
Because
center.
if
We're not
somebody-
talking about that.
If somebody brought in some other type of commercial industrial facility that wasn't a data center, but had the same issues, maybe it's a 24/7 operation, they want lighting around there. Shouldn't the lighting standards we establish for a data center apply across the board in some fashion?
I
And
understand what you're
and
saying.
that's because there could be anything coming in there. We don't know. So to narrow your focus, to only say data centers. And the one other issue, partly with lighting, is, this is my own personal thing too, is I think whatever lighting's in there should be exterior lighting, should be wildlife friendly, which means there's a certain range.
Like
10 feet
lights
long.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
amber lights, if there's some light that don't affect like insects and that as much.
So are
Where
you
they-
saying
they-
that just
they
for data
can-
centers or just for
I'm talking
everybody?
about all exterior lighting
Yes.
for any commercial facility, whether it's a Walmart or whatever.
I'm
Because
fine
that-
with the lighting in the data center. Cause I just.
No,
think
it
this is-
keeps the same lighting issue with levels and everything, it just says you gotta use a certain type of light.
Oh, no, I meant like not just making the data center lighting, like you were saying, and putting it in a general category. I like it being specific. I mean, cause we have all kinds of regulations on certain things. I mean, I seriously don't see why these townships, and this is not, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not the law, okay? But in my layman opinion is like, do we allow gambling casinos in the township? Is that allowed? Oh, can we do allow that?
Everything has to be
use.
at
Any
use.
use.
It got very close in freedom.
We can
Nobody
do
wanted
anything,
it.
we can have any kind of use we want in this township.
It's not we can have it.
We
it's
have
No,
to.
you're
have to
required.
provide
You're
for it.
required
It
to
is a
provide.
requirement. You have to provide for it. And you have blanket statements in the zoning ordinance that says if the use is not defined, you have to go to the zoning hearing board and state your case and everything.
Oh, okay.
And every township does that too, because there's
We
always
have a
new
very
use.
small area that you can do
Right.
these things.
Right,
Very small.
we
Right,
do.
so we can say it's allowed, but
We can't put
There's-
in a casino.
Right. Like Walmart's not coming here.
No.
I mean, because you don't have public water, you don't have public sewer,
You don't have
Lighting.
population.
But you almost had a
Yeah.
casino right next to us,
Really?
in Freedom Township. When I first moved there,
They
there was a big.
considered it over, but that would have been along not Emmitsburg Road. Yeah,
It's
Emmitsburg Road.
old Emmitsburg.
But right up by, Old Emmitsburg Road, right up by 15 because it was the access. But that fell through, a lot of these casinos.
It came close.
I know. That's beyond all of us. That's up or above and the permits they give out, et cetera.
That was at the hearings.
I kind of like you saying that this would be universal, those things. I mean, it requires a little extra work to put it into the ordinance.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I think we talked about everybody's hot topic issues. If one of you are willing, you should appoint someone. Everybody email their thoughts. Don't vote or nothing. Everybody email their thoughts to whoever that person is, and then that person goes to the hearing and says, here are our recommendations as a planning commission. Beatrice said this, Rich said this, Ken said this, Sherry said this. Here you go. And then you can, and then it gives you all your equal say, but it also gives you another couple weeks to read, digest, research, whatever you just want to do.
Can't you just leave the lighting in here, and then if you wanna add it as in the other part too, just add it that, then that way they don't have to.
The idea is, if you put it in the other place, then you reference it, and any other facility that comes up can be referenced in that.
So you wanna put the section that says refer to whatever the ordinance number
Which is, there's a lot of places in the ordinance that does that already.
Mhm. So are we tabling this, or what are we doing?
I have just one little comment, and one thing I never had a chance to really do was to compare Robert Taylor's detailed letter and everything he brought up
What-
with this.
I think that Rob's letter was all based on the previous
Previous
version, so I don't think you can easily take what's in there and try to figure out how it applies to here.
Okay,
Because this apparently took care of his comment.
theoretically, okay.
I mean, somebody snatched it from some township.
Yeah, probably. Which one, I don't know.
Right. It came from a
Okay.
township that had somewhere implemented that verbiage, and then he didn't like it and he trimmed it down.
Yeah, it seems like they probably got it from a bigger area, maybe like Lancaster or something, or York or something.
Cause he
Yeah.
neutered it down to,
Yeah, because I think the previous one, I'm not saying it wasn't all good information. I think it had a lot of fluff that probably isn't needed for a township like Liberty
Right.
Township, where you have, relatively compared to a township, that small area for industrial.
yeah,
commercial.
we're not the prime target for it, but the rest, there's a lot of townships which are facing these problems right now that
You need a major stream or some source of water within the township or municipality
but since we're in
to,
a drought, for one, our whole area is a major drought area for right now.
So this new one here is not based off of all, again, I'm like you, I read Robert's, all those comments in his pages, but I didn't compare that, I was comparing these two right now. But this new one here is not based on Robert's information? That
you're
previous
saying
one,
he was the one that pulled that together, right?
this is the
That's
one, the
the-
old one, the one we said to replace it, which is the one before this
The
one.
old one did not come from county or Robert Taylor.
Okay,
The new one is what came from county.
This 7-page
Robert-
one.
Yes,
okay, so it is, so the 7-page one is Robert's.
yes.
Yeah.
The 16-page one is under is not.
These facilities take a tremendous amount of power too, whether they produce their own or they get it. The whole issue right now in Adams County is that there are so many businesses who would like to come in. They can't come in because they don't have enough power available to them. In Strabane Township, they've got restaurants, just restaurants. They don't have enough power for them. So this is a major issue, and we don't have the transmission here for power.
Probably not up there on 116, at least
Yeah.
not easily.
Right, that's what I mean.
Did it come down 16?
What's that?
Isn't that what fed down 16?
Yeah, I don't think they're rated for this, but I could be wrong. I'm not an electrician. I mean,
What I have been reading is that the entire country's power grid can't support what's happening.
Well, no,
With
they
these
can't.
So what they're doing is the power companies, I don't know if it's behind the power companies is probably who I'm talking about, right? They're the ones, they're building, they have to build new stations. They have to do all these new, update the whole power grid, and then these data centers, they're not the ones gonna eat it. And then guess what's gonna happen in 5, 10, 15 years? Then we're not gonna, technology runs so fast, we're not even gonna need these things. We're not gonna need it all, but then our electric bill is the one's gonna be suffering. I've read where people's bills from $40 a month went up to $800. I mean, because they're making us pay for it. I mean, they come in here, these data center people, they're trained salespeople. They know how to, what do they say? I said the estimate. That they know how to make it seem like it's gonna be amazing, but it's not. So anyways, what are we doing with this? Are we gonna table this so it can be reviewed? I mean,
You, Richard, mentioned that you just go briefly through it, or you rather not do that?
I just know briefly, trust me. I spent
Oh,
12
wow.
hours on it. Unless we wanna take it
Okay.
home and we set 2 days from now, we all then, and then you write down what you feel that's wrong, and then we can, are we allowed to send a group email to say, this is how I feel, and this is how
No.
I feel, and, oh, we're not, okay,
Nope.
okay, forget it.
If you appoint one person, you can all individually email that one person. There shouldn't be no back and forth.
Okay. So we could all take it home and review it and dissect it if we want, and then one person, we all email that one person. So if it's you, then we all email you, and this is how we all feel. Thanks for that option.
And those comments can be compiled and submitted in writing.
Yep. I mean, you would make a motion to appoint someone, and then you all decide when you have to email. So whoever that appointee is has a little bit of time to put it all together and present it to the board of supervisors.
Okay.
What is the date of that meeting?
Is it the
I
5th?
was gonna say December 6th, August 5th at 6 p.m. Which I believe is the next scheduled board of supervisors.
And they're doing the hearing there.
Yeah, it's gotta be, I guess, first thing on the agenda, or if they're gonna do that and then
So they can
Regular
do it
meeting
without our
overhead.
comments?
yes,
Is it worth our time? Because we're just an advisory committee. We can give them what our opinion is right now.
well, you gotta make a recommendation, even if the recommendation is no recommendation, you gotta do something. You can recommend they pass it with condition, with your
Right.
thoughts, or you could say, I just recommend you to pass it, or you could recommend denial, or you could recommend that we provide no input and let it be at that. It's up to you.
Is anybody prepared to be the representative?
Well, if we're just compiling everybody's comments and submitting to the supervisors, I can do that. I probably won't go to a meeting per se, but,
Yeah, you don't have to be there. If you compile all, and I would label as, these are B's comments, these are Rich's comments, Ken's, Sherry's. You can submit it as a memo for, as the planning commission. And then again, if any of you guys wanna show up as a resident, you are more than welcome.
The other thing, like, you show up as a resident, you'd be on the record, at least of what your thoughts were.
That is true. Well, that'll get handed to the stenographer, or whoever takes notes, all those, written comments get put into the record.
Where's that being done?
Here.
In the supervisor's home.
Yes, yes.
And that's what date?
August
Sixth?
5th at, 5th, 5, Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m.
What was the other thing we were talking about? We point somebody to go to
Well, appoint someone to either go to the meeting or put
this
together
meeting, or are you talking about like?
the hearing. or at least
The
put
hearing.
together, the memo to give to the supervisors.
When I say, Rich, if you're prepared to do
Is
this.
the hearing the sixth?
Yes,
And the supervisors
Yes.
meeting is also the
I
sixth?
think they're gonna do the hearing and go right into the supervisors meeting, yes.
So the supervisors would not approve it until after the hearing?
After the hearing, so they'll
Would
probably
they,
have
would
the
they do
hearing,
it right after,
they
probably?
could,
Or they could defer it till the next meeting?
correct. They'll probably have the hearing, close the hearing, and then at their supervisors meeting, if they wanna approve it, they can, or they can table it for a month, or,
Well, the supervisors have received this also, correct?
yes.
Okay, so they've received it, we've received it.
And the solicitor has seen it, etc.
Did the solicitor make any comments?
Not to me / to the planning commission for this meeting, that I'm aware of.
Okay. Who is our solicitor?
John Lisco,
Okay. Is he also for the we have a separate one for us, separate
No,
one? for
John
the
Lisco is the planning commission's attorney.
It's a township
Right.
solicitor.
So he's planning commission and the board of supervisors.
Okay. So shouldn't he give his comments?
I'm sure he'll probably give them at the hearing if he doesn't put them in writing before the hearing.
Would it be appropriate
Or
for
maybe not at the
members that have
hearing, yeah.
concerns to send them to John for review?
No,
It would not.
all comments, another thing when a public,
See,
well,
boards that I've been involved in, usually, like if you have an issue that's going on like this, John should be sitting here with us.
I can appreciate that. I could, especially if there's legal questions. What happens is, whenever there's a public hearing, you do not have to attend that hearing, but you can email or handwrite in your comments, and they get all put on the record, not just the planning commission, any citizen. Those should at least be reviewed. You know, John is, whereas he still has, he wants what's best for the township, but he's usually just providing legal aspects.
Sure.
He's not gonna say, well, 10 feet setback or 20 feet, the attorneys usually don't weigh in on that, but they'll say if it's legal or not. So, I'm not sure if you have any legal questions for him, but still, all comments should come to the township in general, i.e. the supervisors, and I mean, they do, they talk to their attorney, usually attorneys, knows about almost all that type of stuff, especially if it's a legal question.
Well, I'm saying that if Rich is prepared to compile our comments, I'd be more than happy to nominate him to be a representative to compile our comments and submit them in some form or fashion, in writing or in person.
As long as people put their comments exactly they want them stated, because I will not change.
Okay. Yeah, you should.
That's a good point.
I take it that was a motion?
Yes, that was a motion.
You would need to,
I'll
I'm
second.
sorry.
So that's just for me to put that together.
Well, so it's burdening you, I mean, you.
No,
offered,
I'm just clarifying that the motion is just for appointing me.
appointing you.
We're not, we really,
To
Right, we're
to
not,
represent the planning
Right.
commission to the hearing.
So, and Sherry, you
Second.
seconded, and we need to write our comments clearly. You will compile them and submit them either in person or writing.
second it.
all in favor.
Okay.
And
So-
thank you.
So the other thing is a motion exactly that we table this, or we just say that somehow that we need to just give feedback to the supervisors
I
that
think they're rejecting it at this point.
we have concerns.
What'd you say?
I think they're rejecting it at this point.
No, I think you guys just have to decide on a day that everybody gets them to you. I mean, you already made
Yeah.
the motion that everybody's gonna compile their notes, give them to you, you're gonna put them in a format to the supervisors. I think now it's an informal, hey, I want everybody's comments by
Yes, what date?
August 1st, I don't know, July 30th. I mean, you guys figure that out.
Yeah, the sooner the better, that way you can
What's the date?
propose yours.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Stuff.
it's 1 week between now and when the hearing is, so,
Is there one of them?
yeah,
I guess 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks, 2
2
weeks,
weeks.
2 weeks,
Less than 2 weeks, yeah.
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 So,
Or
in a
2
week,
weeks, yeah.
the 28th, a week today?
That will be good.
I'll get them on in a week.
All right.
And we can send a note, I'll send a note to Luther to advise him that if he's got any comments,
Okay.
send one.
And when we send it, we each just send it to you. We
Yes.
don't do a group,
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
So
Don't
we're
do
not
it.
gonna do a group,
No.
just I send it to you, Ken
Yeah.
sends it to you, Beatrice sends it to you.
Okay.
And if you decide you don't have any comments, I'd prefer having
Correct.
a note that just
Right.
says, I
Why?
don't have any comments.
Why what?
Like certain instances, you
This-
can't have
that-
one-on-one
this-
because of the
this-
sunshine
Well,
thing.
that's why the sunshine.
Mhm.
It'll come across that you're all making a decision if you're talking and you can't do that. So
Can make decisions here.
you can make decisions here. All you do is just send him an email with your comments. And if that means all 4 of you have the same all 5 of you have the same comments, so be it. You can't make any decisions, so it's
I think
just
this is a good idea.
cleaner, easier, 1-to-1, and end it.
Good idea.
And all the supervisors are going to do
Thank
is
you for your comment.
they're gonna listen to any comments and then they're gonna do what they're gonna do. We have no power. That's the basic line. We're advisory committee.
But the comments are there for, they may not do anything about it
Everybody else,
initially,
everybody else
but-
knows where you stand. So, all right, so
So,
that's,
okay.
that's
I
good.
think we're done with that one. What was the code for your fifth?
Okay, so the next one, the chapter 350, in your packet, that'll be the June 30th memo from Adams County. If you remember, we tried to do a small change to the zoning ordinance that allows for small lots to be subdivided. So you don't have to do conservation by design. County thought it'd be best to sort of do it this way. It still meets all our goals and everything. They weren't necessarily supportive how we wrote it in the first one. My recommendation to the supervisors was, and everybody, and I think John recommended the same thing, is if this makes county happy, we'll do it the way county wants it. Ultimately, it's still doing what you want it, which is to allow these small lots in a conservation ag district to subdivide without having to do conservation by design practices. And I think the lots are 10 acres and less. So county wanted to see it a certain way. They weren't necessarily in favor of the way we did it. So the thought is, fine, we'll do it the way county is. Now we get the support of county, and it still does the same exact job that we wanted.
It's not what I want.
So, the thing and for the one under E right now where it says amendment to 350, chapter 350, that's the original one? Cause there's a second one down here under new business of repealing conservation. by
Right,
design.
that's the second part of all this. Let's just wait until we get to that.
Okay, so,
Okay.
but I wasn't clear with, we're talking about the one where there's an option 5.
Correct. And this
Okay.
is just
But I
another.
wasn't clear, there was the initial one, and Wendy said here, but I didn't see where the updates or what the changes were.
This is the new amendment is with the county. They put it already in amendment format. That's what they want us to do. Our original thing was we were just
Let me
saying.
see that. I'm gonna make sure I'm like, I got really confused about
Yeah,
it. Am I looking at the right
Our
thing or
original
not?
amendment, which you guys actually recommended approving, was just a 2-sentence amendment that said basically lots of 10 acres and less don't have to follow conservation by design. County felt like we could get ourselves wrapped up in the weeds, you know, throughout the entire ordinance and felt we should do this. And they
Okay.
put it all in format and everything. And county supports this. Again, it still does exactly what we were trying to do, was to make to amend the ordinance, which is gonna be basically temporary until we get down to further below where we really do the big amendment. But this is it's going to end up ultimately being a temporary measure for these small lots until we finish the bigger amendment, which is another couple things down on the agenda.
Yeah, well, what confused me, that one, I believe, was in her initial message when she sent the minutes and had all the documents attached.
Okay.
And then she sent it again and said there was a revision.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there was one beforehand that I didn't really look at.
Well, no, you guys last meeting actually approved the original one, which is just that two sentence amendment.
Okay.
But county said no,
But
two sentences.
the
we
way
need
her
to make it
email
3
was,
pages.
she basically sent this twice.
Oh,
And
okay.
it got a little confusing about what they were talking
Yes,
about.
okay. I have a question. You go on. Unless you were you speaking?
We spoke at the same time.
You go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to clarify what you're saying is basically we're taking the county format to make it universal across the board as a semi-temporary measure until everything gets rewritten. Am
Yes.
I understanding it correctly? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my understanding is this, if you have 10 acres parcel, then you can subdivide to 1 acre lots. And on
Yes.
each one of those 1 acre lots, you can put a residential home, resulting in a small development of 10 homes, right?
In theory, if you're
Why do we,
is
right,
that
road frontage, and all that stuff, but who wants that? I mean, cause conservation, we're gonna, if we keep doing, I mean, how many parcels in the township does this affect? Is there many? I mean,
this?
we're not conserving, I mean, in the conservation district.
No, here's the problem. It started with one person, they didn't make that big a deal about it, and then other people. The problem is you have people out there who have like 5 acre lots, and they just wanna cut off a lot for their daughter, their son, their mom, or just to sell to make money. 5 acres isn't a farm, and you're not really doing any conservation except saving, and I'm not making light of this, saving a little bit of trees or something. There's nothing you're really conserving on 5 acres. And the supervisors and residents who came in here talked about this, that started the ball rolling, said, well, we're not saving, you know, we're not, like, 5 acres if we cut in half isn't gonna save a farm. You know, it's just not, because you don't farm on 5 acres, you know, traditional farm. So they wanted to do this to allow for these small lots that are 5, 6, 7 acres that they can subdivide their property. Now you say, well, that's just putting in a small development. The other aspect is, well, if the 7 acre lot did it, put in 7 homes, it's less demand for the 100 acre farm to actually want to subdivide. Because they don't need that 100 acre farm, they have these little small lots we could do. It's just a counter argument, that's all. So that's what this whole amendment's about. Later on in the agenda, when we get to it, there's bigger changes than just this small amendment.
So I wouldn't see, I agree, it wouldn't make much different if it was 1 or 2 parcels, but if we're talking like we have 50 to 100 parcels that this would affect, then we're not gonna keep any green space. Right, why don't we allow 5 acres or less, why
No,
10?
It was
Because the
just,
people who came in had 7.
no, people who came in only had 3.
Oh Lord.
That's right, and by the time they did their conservation by design techniques, their house literally would be smaller than this table, because they had to preserve everything, and it's like, well, how's that fair?
What,
That was their argument.
the other thing, keep in mind, anybody that would try to divide a lot, they still have to comply with putting sewage and all that on there.
Sewage,
So
water,
if you get a
et cetera.
1 acre lot, you may not be able to accommodate a septic.
So what is the smallest lot you can do?
I think it's half
What-
acre, I saw somewhere.
I don't know if it might be a half acre, I thought it was 1 acre, or it might just say the smallest feasible while still being able to put everything else on, i.e. a sewage system, you know, a sand mound, a replacement area for your sand mound, your well, the house, driveway, and meet all your requirements for lot coverage.
And setbacks and all the rest of it, yes.
Right.
And,
So,
and there, depending on the lot, you've gotta have a certain amount of road frontage for
Are
getting
they,
lots.
are they going to be able to get a special exception or go through and even if you were under a certain size and didn't meet all the requirements, could they come in and ask for a waiver on any of that?
anybody can come in and ask for a waiver on anything.
That's right.
Anything. So,
I mean, back in the nineties, it was 2 acre lots. That was the minimum of, when you were subdividing anything off, it was 2 acres. That was,
The big thing for me is this specifies that it only applies to lots created before a certain date.
yeah,
And so,
which is a zoning ordinance.
so if you had a bigger lot, you couldn't take like a 5 acre piece off of it and then turn around and subdivide it under this,
Right.
because it would have been a newly created lot.
So I got a quick question about this road frontage, what you said. Alright, so say you have a 10 acre parcel and it's a deep, okay, it's a deep parcel. So your road frontage, you have zoning right here. And you do a common use lane that goes back through. You can put 5 houses this side and 5 houses on this side. So, and they each then would go in to have their own driveway off this road frontage at the front. Does that constitute like an approval then? Do you see what I'm saying?
You're talking about them building a road.
They'd have to build
And
a
if
road.
they build a road,
Fire
there's
department.
regulations on building a road. And
Okay.
then, yes, it creates more road frontage, but they would have to build a road.
Up to specs.
Okay.
Yes.
And not only that, it would be a private road.
Right.
Most likely it'd be
Okay.
a private
And then-
road, the
then you gotta
township would
worry-
not
then you gotta
accept
worry
the
about snow
dedication,
removal
and they
and
have to deal with all that.
Maintenance and
We'll
all
have to
that.
do a
They would still have
homeowners
to make certain
association, all that
It
stuff.
was just something that him and I have discussed.
well,
Not
we-
about
I-
ourselves, it's one about ourselves.
I've
It's
told
just-
her, road frontage, they'll slow down a lot of lots. And we do know about panhandles, correct?
Right.
Do
My
not
main
allow
concern is to
panhandles
conserve
in
our-
road front, in a joint use driveway, if you're thinking that way, well, it's just a joint use, that does not circumvent road frontage. You build a road,
Oh.
then you, in essence, can add it onto your road frontage, but a joint use driveway does not do that.
Oh, okay. Like I said, it's not nothing personal that I was thinking of, it's just like, I'm, and I'll say it on record, I'm all about conserving, that's why people live here, is because they like the worldness of it. We keep building it all up and we'll be like, downtown Williamsburg. That's not, I'm interested in preserving, so. Alright,
And I totally agree with you on that.
No one wants to push it.
But I mean, my initial thing when we were talking about lots 10 acres or less, I was thinking, well, you can get around that by just keep creating 10 acre lots. But the way this is written, you
Right.
would, any new lot that was created, you could not subdivide
So it's
further.
only older lots after a certain, lots that have been around for a certain amount of time.
They're already,
and a quick question, on Robert's thing here, when he says in number 4, such interpretation would defeat the intent of the proposed amendment and result in the same administrative issues the township is currently experiencing. What's
That was the old one that
Yeah.
was saying.
what administrative issues we're talking about?
I do not,
Okay.
cause,
Okay, being honest.
well, cause this is what he didn't like about the old one, and then he said, you should do this one, and everybody sort of said, yeah, let's just do this one, it makes everybody happy, it solves a problem that we're trying to temporarily improve until we get to the bigger amendment.
And you can't divide property off unless you have a permit on it, correct?
No, that's not true.
Yep.
If you have big enough land or give it to, your neighbor that you can subdivide anytime you want.
Oh, but it wouldn't be buildable.
We wouldn't approve a non-buildable lot unless it's adjoining to a lot owner or it's an ag lot. And an ag lot in the eyes of DEP has to be 10 acres or greater.
Okay, so but a lot for a home to go into, it has to have a permit, that you.
Yes. Yep. Building lot has to have a permit.
Okay.
You're very detailed.
Well, I think we granted that
He has all this detail, alright.
with these sports things up there where it didn't have a perk on it. that piece of
That's-
property.
That's such a big lot.
Yeah.
They're sort of saying they acknowledge they don't have a perk on it. It's just such a big lot.
Did they go away? Did they get approved?
They got approved. Does anybody wanna make a recommendation on this amendment,
I thought it was,
proposed amendment?
didn't you say it was already passed the last meeting?
It was, but it's been revised, so
The revised has to be,
yeah.
or recommended to the,
Or you could just say we recommend.
Supervisors.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, as far as this special one or limited one, I would be in favor of it.
Would or would not?
Would.
Oh, okay. Is that a?
I'll make a
I'm
motion, I'll
sorry,
make a
I can't-
motion
Okay,
to
right.
revise the, recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
So if and again, I don't mean to be difficult, but I'm trying to get involved in this planning commission and give my side opinion, right? So if I don't wanna see if I just told you, I don't want to see 1 acre lots, then I can say no, right?
Well, yeah, but don't forget, it's not just what you want, it's what can be done
But I
within.
gotta vote on my opinion.
You could vote
You-
however
you-
Yeah,
say.
you can vote whatever way you wanna vote.
Just be clear, when somebody makes a motion, it is not required that anybody second it. If they don't
Oh.
if there's no
Oh.
second, then the motion doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
If there's a second, we will have a vote.
A discussion and
And we have a discussion,
Right,
when the discussion's done, we'll have a vote.
okay,
People can vote exactly the way they feel. There's no requirement that we pass everything unanimously.
right,
So-
okay,
So during the discussion, it's really a time for you to make a case to the other members that this is something that is not ready to be approved.
well, I'm not gonna make a case, I'm just.
Well, I mean, but by expressing your opinion.
There's 3 of you guys, so
By
it'll
expressing
pass.
your opinion, you're basically causing us to think and say, well, I was gonna vote for that, but maybe you got a good point, you know, okay.
I have to be true to
So,
myself.
I'd rather
You
have,
guys go ahead and do your motions.
I'd rather have some sense of, good discussion and
Right, right,
if
instead of
we don't
everybody
all
being a yes
agree
man.
at the end,
Correct,
then it's gonna be the majority.
correct.
I'm so sorry. This isn't the meeting of the county, is it?
No.
Which, for what?
Well, sorry. The reason I'm here is there's a tree down the road, and I didn't know who else to call.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to interrupt this
Hey,
important
Trey.
meeting.
I would say try to get our police force.
So I called the police department, and it was kind of the automated left a message, and then it just
Where are you at?
call.
Where's
Well,
the tree
Call
at?
Mickey
the tree is
Barlow.
just over Steelman Marker,
Okay.
and it's not on the road. It's hanging just above the road.
I can call Mickey.
I was gonna say, that's what I was gonna call, so Mickey.
Did you know who was storming?
That's not original there, probably.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt this.
Yeah, we appreciate you letting us know.
Yeah, well,
Somebody
you
has
know,
to
this, I drive by here all the time, and I saw the cars here, so I figured.
Can you just hang on a second? I'm trying to call Mickey, he's the supervisor of road crew, and I
Okay.
can give you my phone, and you can tell me.
You
Sure.
don't have Mickey contacts, I heard that.
I have him in mind.
That way when that goes down, you even have the number, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I've had the similar reservations about
Yeah.
this. I thought 10 acres seemed large. I mean, I happen to have 14 acres of my own. I love the rural nature. However, during various meetings, I sort of understand why this is going through. And as Don has many times explained.
You know, you said Steelman Marker?
There's
Steelman
a lot of
marker, it's right here, it's hanging over the
I need
road.
to look at all
Okay,
the
I'll
other.
Send him a text.
Keep trying to call.
Just
Okay.
send him a text.
Thank you very much. Since I interrupted this meeting, can I know what this meeting is?
Liberty Township Planning Commission.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Nice to meet you,
Thanks
thank
for-
you.
thanks
Do you
for
live
letting
in
us
Liberty
know.
Township?
I live over in Fairfield, which I guess it's Liberty Township. I'm still getting used to it. I
If
just
you're in
moved
Fairfield, it's Fairfield. If you're outside of Fairfield, you might be Liberty.
Or Hamilton.
Pay taxes to it.
Or Hamilton.
So I'm right on Liberty Mountain, just the other side. So I'm in like Fairfield, just there's like a little neighborhood that's kind of underdeveloped, but open.
What trail?
Clipper.
Clipper Trail.
So
We're
that's Carroll Valley.
We're near Kern and Freedom, and
So you may be Carroll Valley
It
Road.
might be
Yeah.
Carroll Valley.
that's
Yes,
it.
yes.
So I interrupted the wrong people.
No problem. Thanks for
Well, thank you for what you do.
Thanks, have a good
Good night.
evening.
Well, I called
Okay.
them and sent them a text.
Okay, so the motion on the table, is there a second or no second? So,
Can you repeat exactly? The motion is to approve this.
no, the motion is to recommend to the Board of
Recommend
Supervisors
adoption of the.
adoption of the revised, ordinance.
Revised, ordinance or amendment?
Well, what,
The amendment.
the amendment.
To chapter 350, which is
In
Semi-
regards to option 5. They'll know what that is.
in regards to option 5. And this is something of a sort of temporary holdover
Right, because we have the other amendment coming further down.
until
Yeah.
The intent is to have this in temporary in place
yes.
and then follow it with a more complete ordinance that would address the,
When the ordinance has been
Replanning.
updated.
things that were based on conservation by design, which then would supersede this.
Got it, okay. Sorry.
Do you want to second that?
Oh, I'll second that, yes, yes,
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, so now we have a formal second, now we have a formal motion.
No, yeah, now we can discuss.
Go ahead, it's Mickey.
So are we voting?
Huh?
Are we voting or we
Well,
discussing?
No,
The first thing you do is discuss after a motion.
Oh, I thought we
Is
sort
the
of
second.
discussed it, go on, yes.
I
I
mean,
thought we discussed all this before. Like, we just
No.
finished discussing
No.
it.
the
now.
normal procedure is you do a motion and then you do
Yes.
discussion.
Oh,
Wait,
that was
motion
what I was
second.
saying.
And then discussion, okay?
Yeah,
And then that way, yeah.
but sometimes I'd like discussion first because that might guide what the motion will be. As opposed to, the one comment I was gonna make about the 10 acres, that's like just at the threshold where if it was more than 10 acres, which this one applied, then you're into clean and green. If somebody had
Right.
exactly 10 acres, they could be clean and green, and they probably wouldn't want it applied,
But
but
they could have less. They could have less than 10 acres and be clean and green.
Can you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I
Well,
didn't know
yeah,
that was
if
terrible.
you,
Terrible.
if you have, some farming that you do, and you can show a certain amount of income on that,
Wow.
that acreage, you can have less than 10 acres, yes.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Didn't we read something
Yeah, I
about
think
that?
it's $2,000 or something a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2,000.
Huh,
Mhm.
very smart. I
He must
forgot
be,
about that.
he must be making up $2,000.
No, I have 67 acres.
But at any rate, my guess was that anybody had much bigger lots probably wouldn't want to subdivide
Pay back
because of the clean and green.
Right.
Everything you've gotta go through there. You gotta
Well-
do the subdivision, you gotta do the rollback on the taxes for
If you have
several
more,
years.
don't you, you're allowed to divide.
You're allowed with small acres.
Small acres
Yeah.
off every so often.
Yeah,
But you can't go below the 10.
Right.
So, you got 10 and you go down one. You're not gonna be clean and green.
That's right.
so again, the way this was designed, that there's certain issues that the township's trying to deal with property owners, that have small lots, they're looking to wanna subdivide them. And felt that all the requirements that were currently in the zoning ordinance regarding conservation, just prohibit them from dividing.
Didn't Mitchell bring this up?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the,
Yeah.
that's the reason, that's
That's
where this
It's
all
not the
came
only
from.
reason, but he
Yeah.
actually brought in a plan and everybody saw it. And
Yeah.
that really started. Other people came and talked about it, and I
Nothing
think it was
happened.
more of the visual. People saw the
Right.
plan and went, "Oh, now we we get it. But
Definitely
yes, that
happens.
started the ball.
Yes.
And he's
With
right.
the way his lot sits, he can have road frontage,
Yep.
okay?
Yeah,
Because he has McLaughlin and he has Bullfrog.
Yep.
yeah, directly across the road, there's a big development with
Yeah.
very small lots.
How
Which
small
is,
lots?
but they, well,
Half
that's,
acres,
yeah. but it's zoned different.
Right.
I mean, almost half acre lot, you know, small
But that's-
lots for commercial,
Some of them-
conservational area.
You
You
know,
made a good case.
that
You
section
made a
is
good
AE
case.
section of Charnita, and they have a moratorium. The only way you can build is if you have road frontage.
Yeah, 10 acres, it's 10 or more acres to be in clean and green. So
Right.
this thing says 10 acres, they can subdivide to 1 acre lots, right?
But
So they're gonna
I
face,
doubt anybody has exactly 10-acre lot.
they don't, but we're saying if you have 10,
Well, you could have 5. This is what we're
Right.
saying.
Right.
If you have
If you have 5
Right.
acres
Yeah, I
and you
know.
wanna,
You could have 9.5.
you have a child
I'm
and
just
you wanna.
speaking on what you said
yeah.
were
Yeah.
10 acres with it clean and green, but, you know, the 10 acres
I
is
mean, I would
clean.
write this to say less than 10 acres, just to
I
remove
think
that.
someone said 9, not the last time, but the time before,
No.
somebody said something about 9.
No.
Was there ever a 9? Because
No.
10, if they do it, they're gonna
Yeah.
face repercussions, possibly, if they
Yeah,
don't do
but like I
it.
said, usually if somebody's got 10, it's like 10.1 or 10.05. So it's more than 10. I don't think anybody's got a lot that's 10.000. Not to say it's impossible, but I doubt
But
it.
can you take a 2.5 acre lot and divide it in half to get road frontage?
Yes.
But to me, there's enough other stuff in the ordinance as far as like actually dividing it into 10 1-acre
There's all
lots.
kinds of stuff.
I just don't think that's something that people would do. So you still feel uncomfortable with it?
Have a vote. Call the question.
I'm sorry?
Call the question means
Call
take
the
a vote.
question is that we gotta take a vote.
Oh, yes.
When you call the question, then there's a vote.
So who, am I supposed to call the question?
No, he
I
he
said
called the question. So when
So he's the
when
chair.
when
He
you're
calls the vote.
doing Robert's Rules of Order, if somebody after discussion says call the question,
Go for it.
that means we vote.
Okay.
Now, we could say no and then continue the discussion, or
Yes.
so. At this point, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Your nay. That's okay.
I'm an individual.
Well, that's,
No, that's
there's nothing
fine.
wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong, and we respect what you're doing, but it
Thank
just, and want you to keep doing that.
Okay.
Someday I want to say something nobody else will.
Well, now, it's why we're here, we're supposed to not all just agree, just to agree.
So for this one, we need to create that memo that,
The lists.
that recommends.
Again, all we're doing is recommending the supervisors. And they're the ones that are gonna make the final decision. That's it.
He's cracking me up.
That's it.
Okay, so moving down, since Mike and Ward never showed up, we just skip that.
Did anybody get a plan or anything? Were we given anything for that?
No, he
It's
He
just
was-
a sketch
he
plan,
wanted
he was
to
gonna
get
come in and
information.
talk, but he didn't.
he's in initial process of planning and was looking for information. We don't know what the information he wants is, so we really can't respond to it.
Okay.
So the other two pieces is the retreat center and then the repealing the concentrated, and that's the bigger picture one.
Yes.
Now, I would note that on the minutes or the agenda, that the board of supervisors are asking for a response in September, by the September meeting. So,
On what?
as far as the retreat center, the last two
Okay,
items.
okay.
Yeah, she has
Okay,
a,
so we can start a discussion on it, but we don't have to come to any, we can go as far as we need to and then,
So what's happening on the retreats?
Okay, so I'll give you a little background. The supervisors asked me to recommend some changes to the ordinance that will repeal conservation by design in conservation district and the ag rural district. So when doing that, the whole second chance issue came up, and I said, I can put it all into one. The retreat center amendment, adding it with the changes to the conservation district and the ag district. So when I did that, I did not change anything that was already in your ordinance as option 2, basically. You know, meaning, and what I mean is I didn't change anything what your permitted uses were, your special exception, your conditional uses. I didn't change anything as it relates to what your current setbacks required, lot coverage, anything like that. I just stripped out the conservation by design criteria. The only thing that I added, and it's in the conservation district under conditional use, I highlighted it in yellow, was the retreat center. So the stuff that was given was what would be the new
Do you have a
conservation.
copy of it, or like an extra copy, or?
Yeah, here, take that copy. Does anybody else,
I
no, you have one copy.
I looked at it, I didn't print it out, yeah.
So,
If you haven't,
yeah, so with that being said, is what I gave out, or what was emailed out to you all, was the new section for conservation district, which includes a conditional use retreat center, a new section for the ag rural district, and then another section, another set of papers which adds a definition for retreat center. Definitions to be removed, those are all specific to conservation by design technique. And then also adding in some criteria for the retreat center, that would be A through H. That's specific criteria for a retreat center. And then some other areas in the zoning ordinance under Article 3 that are very specific to conservation by design things, to remove all that. As Rich pointed out, we don't have to make any decision on any of this until September 2nd. Meaning that's when they need to be at the board, that's their meeting when they're gonna discuss this. So that means next month, August, we can all discuss this again and then make a recommendation then. Most likely we'll have second chance and Mitchell on, most likely, you know, they'll still be on the agendas, but we'll probably get something from one of them for that next meeting. I would suggest, due to the time we've been here already, I'm not sure how far any of you went down reviewing all this stuff. You can email me if you want your questions or comments, or you can put them all together and then bring them to the next meeting. And you know, again, you can this one in particular, since no decision's being made and we haven't made a decision. You know, when you send an email, you can even copy everybody on it. But again, no decision will be made. It's just here's what I'm thinking type deal.
Who's that?
It's Mickey.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Mickey.
okay. Sorry, I thought it was something coming
So I mean, that's up to you guys. We could discuss it now further. Again, I know we've been here a while, but we can
I have
more of it
two
tomorrow.
quick comments.
I
Next
just
month.
wanted to.
My two quick comments is number one, with the retreat center, you've identified it as a use for the conservation district.
Yes.
Why isn't it in the agricultural rural? Because to me,
I didn't even really give it much consideration. It was done mainly because we already had a retreat center and
Understood.
that's
but you also had the retreat center that's partially.
the Bible camp.
Right, exactly. So we already have one in the, so to me,
We can add it into
It's a
that.
valid use in both.
Absolutely, we can add
So-
it into that.
That's one. The second one is as I understand, because I wasn't around at the time, that the whole conservation by design and all that was put in place after wormhole came in.
It was put in place after, during,
But
etc.
I think part of it was to try to prevent large
Yeah.
concentrated
Wormhole came,
residential.
I mean, now we're talking 20 plus years, but Wormhole came in, I'm not, you know, Township didn't have great, ordinances at that time. They hired, I forget her name, I know who did the ordinance. They hired her, Sherry Fogarty. At the time, conservation by design was the big thing, everybody was pushing it, they pushed it, and it might work in cities, I don't know, but in very rural areas, no one ever truly utilizes it, especially when you have to deal without public sewer and you're dealing with septic systems and you're dealing with your township who has crappy soils for septic systems.
Yep.
So it makes conservation by design, the practice that they try to sell you, very hard to do and it doesn't necessarily work. But it's not a bad concept. I'm not
My
gonna
concern
do
is,
that.
does the revised thing that's being presented create the protections that we're looking for to avoid having a large dense
Or did you just?
residential area?
Well, if you look, I can
Like
tell you
if
this.
Wormhole came today with the, and we adopted this with their original proposal, would we be kind of stuck to say we gotta say yes?
What I could say is in the conservation district, your density is 1 unit per every 1.5 acres. So if you had 90 acres, you could put 60 houses on, just for very simple math, okay?
What's the acreage of
Yeah.
the Wormhole thing?
Well, that's like 700 acres.
Okay.
And if you're asking this compared to what it does to Wormald, there's an agreement with Wormald, and that's more of the attorney
I'm talking about
question.
Wormhole too.
So, now as far as your ag zone, this is a density of 1 unit per 2 acres. So if you had a 100-acre farm, you could put 50 homes in. So we're not trying to say chop up your property to, get 10,000 homes, but we don't have some of the criteria that was in previously. But that's what the
Well,
density
again,
factor is.
That's where I think we should be having ordinances to kind of protect against those big developments. And if that does it, I'm okay. I just,
Yeah, that's the density factor. Ideally, and it depends on how you view it. The farmer who has 100 acres and can do 50 houses, there is one aspect where people will say, well, every house is 2 acres. I don't necessarily like that. I would prefer the 50 houses all have an acre, and then you have one parcel that has 50 acres that can't be subdivided in the future. And I think a farmer can actually farm 50 acres, because you can't farm when it's 2-acre lots everywhere, because everything's gone. It's green, but it's not farmland. So that's the concept, at least, with having the density and not just saying a minimum and a maximum lot size.
Put a sewer system in for a small development, it doesn't pay.
Probably not, and the density stays the same.
Right.
So,
And with our soils, you're not going to get perks and wells.
I hate saying this, I know we use it as an excuse because things change and all, but I know one thing. Wormel was never built because they did try. Their soils are terrible. They could not get septic systems. That's why they had to propose 700 homes or whatever with a public sewer system. If they try to just do septic systems, they'd be lucky if they got 70 homes on that 700 acres or whatever it is.
Mhm.
I mean, it's Liberty in general. There's pockets of good soil, where you know where they are. But I mean, down here, Down here, they're all fill sites. They actually bring in soil. The soil's so bad. It's Adams County in general. It's Liberty Township. Generally speaking, your soils are bad. You can't just write that into an ordinance and say, well, soils are bad. But I think we all have been around here enough. Your soils are bad. You can't get septic systems. You don't have public sewer. That stunts growth per se, without any ordinance doing it for you.
That's great.
Um,
I have a question.
sure.
Down here, can you explain to me what G is? So I take it as one guess for
And
every
what?
two.
At the retreat center.
Yeah, one
Just
guess
so
for every
everybody else
2
can see it.
acres.
Yep.
Alright, so if it's 10 acres, then you can have 5 guests.
G, maximum number of guests at a retreat center shall be defined as one guest for every 2 acres of the parent property. Correct.
Alright,
So, second chance is what, 270 acres, 240? In theory, they could have 480 guests. They don't have rooms for that. I think they only have rooms for about 7 or 8, like little cottages. But in theory, and again, they have to handle all the sewage for all that. But in theory, yes, that's what they can
because
have.
my thing was like, you know, what if there's a, and I was just thinking as, like, if it was a 10-acre property, which maybe it wouldn't be proposed for a 10-acre property, then it would be a family of 6 come in, and how would they stay, because you only have 5 guests.
I mean, that's why it
for
should
the
have
person,
been.
that's for the zoning officer to determine.
We're
how
talking
I was
to-
just-
That
retreat
was
center
one thing
only.
I was considering.
This is for retreat center only.
Retreat center only, yes.
This is not a home, right?
No, it's for
Okay, so
retreat
then-
center.
But I knew some people that they built their own retreat center. They basically converted garage. This was in Maryland. And they did like weekend retreats and stuff like that. But they had the facilities to house more than, you know, it was just a small building, but it was a retreat center.
So what's the size here? Like on H, it says the facilities associated with the retreat center, including not limited to lodging, dining, meeting, and recreation facilities, shall be the size to reflect the maximum number per guest. Like, what's the formula for that? Or is that gonna be someplace else? Like, how do you know, and there a formula, so if it's
Well-
100 acres versus 200 acres or 10 acres, what's the formula?
It's not that they're, well, the formula is, what do they have there?
So like if it was
So-
100 acres, how do you figure out what the
It's
size?
not
would be?
based on the 100 acres.
Okay,
So
so
it's
I-
saying the facility associated with included but not limited to lodging, meaning shall be size reflective to per minute number of guests. Yeah, number of guests could be 200 or 50 or whatever, but if they say we're building 7 cottages, we have sewage capacity for 7 cottages, then that's the permitted number of guests. What can be in those 7 cottages? But, you know, whether it's 2 people per cottage or 3, whatever, you know, but that's what it, you know,
Is there square footage per person?
no.
So your cottage size could be a shed or it could be a 2,000 square foot ranch.
Oh, you're,
Pretty good.
So that, you gave it was like, we were like,
I mean, there's no size to a house. Some of us live in townhouses, some live in McMansions, and it's the same amount of people. So
But they still have to go through
they still have to do the sewage and water and
zoning.
all that other stuff.
it's gotta be, yeah, if you have so many people living in a house that are, the sewer's calculated by
Right.
the amount of people.
But
Bedrooms.
I think should have a privacy fence around it, especially since it's only gonna be 100 feet from any property line. Adding need to enclose it in a privacy fence. You know how McDonald's, Wendy's, Applebee's, they all have
And that's probably actually already in the saldo. This is
Oh,
just saying
okay.
what the setback is.
that.
In the saldo, I think it'll say all outside
Trash.
garbage has to be shielded.
Okay,
or-
that's a good
yeah.
thing. Alright.
I think at this point, if, again, looking at time, it might be best to just everybody share your comments by email, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I don't know what next month's agenda is gonna look like, but I suspect that we'll have a lot more time to devote to this.
And we can include everybody on email when we email you that.
Right, we're just not
Okay.
making any decisions, you're tabling it here, you can say here, you know, but next meeting we'll,
And I would suggest just keeping the distribution to the people done that can be included in the planning book.
yeah,
Just the six of us.
Yeah.
Six of us.
Yeah.
just remember, you can't say like, hey, what does everybody think about that? You can't do that. You just say,
Comments.
here's my comments for, the
Retreat center.
the retreat center, we'll discuss further at the meeting, okay? No, does anybody think that you can't do that? That's on the border of, making a decision which is against sunshine, not do that.
But if you do it at night, there's no sunshine, so.
Well, the other side of the world there might be, so.
Locked out somewhere.
So do we have to have a motion to table this until the next meeting, or we just?
I would say, just for
How
now.
much the table?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, does anybody wanna go home? I've taken a motion to adjourn.
So Sherry made the motion, Ken, you seconded, right? Right, keep
How
the
much
motion
to adjourn?
So. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Who made the motion to adjourn? You did, Sherry, and
Yes,
who
ma'am.
seconded it? Thank you. Sorry with all my questions.
And I can tell her, I can type her up so that she can put it in the minute notes, what I said.
That would be very helpful, yes. Very
Yeah.
good.
Cause I'm not making any, I'm just telling you what I said in the
No,
meeting. Yeah,
he
'cause
took
she's in
notes
there.
and
Okay.
it's just comparing each other's notes to make sure that,
Good.
And
Yeah, and they-
I struggle with this, I
You're
tried very hard.
doing an amazing job, let me tell you, amazing.
and then you can always re-review the camera to make sure
I
that.
can't hear them, I even turn on the words, and the words just don't match sometimes what they're saying, I mean, it does a good job, I mean, it does a good job, it's better than nothing.
8:15.
Oh, I should have it on my phone.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next month or maybe sooner, you never know.
Oh, and I signed my minutes, I always forget to do this.
Did we do anything with a representative? Are you're gonna be the representative?
Well, I'm
yes.
gonna, I don't know a real meeting, I will definitely put everything together in writing.
Okay.
But everybody here is willing to go to the meeting.
Oh, yeah, definitely,
You
I
can
will
go
be
to
there.
meetings.
You're not representing
No, I'm not representing, I'm gonna be there as this.
herself.
Yeah.
What is the date?
Yes, anybody can go.
The date is the, what's the date today?
21st, my dad's birthday.
Were you comfortable with the social media stuff?
Did I win?
You're coming about social media.
Yeah, so I was gonna put on, social media, telling everybody you need to block, if you want your opinion on data centers, go into the township meeting this. Here's the, whatever.
I don't think announcing meetings, stuff like that.
Right, cause it's public
But what I would discourage if people responded
communication,
with other
right.
comments that
Right,
could
I stay
lead
out of
you,
it.
I would just cut off what you're gonna say.
Yep.
Because and also just when meetings are and agendas and that, point them to the Liberty Township.
Right,
Because
right. No, I don't wanna say nothing.
we should be trying to do as much as we can. Cause I've seen I don't tend to put anything on social media, cause people distort everything you say.
Well, not everybody gets a newspaper. I know I don't.
I know that.
Even when I get it, I don't read it, or when I used to get it, so I don't get the newspaper, and there's a lot of older people that don't even do internet, I'm happy
Thanks,
about
everybody.
it.
See you
So
next
let
month.
people know that we have things going on.
Right, get to the
And-
township.
Encourage them to participate in meetings.
This is Jessica's desk over here.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Bring down
Drop off my
all the-
taxes.
There's a box outside here that says Dropbox.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Put it in there, and let's see.
I did it myself earlier.
Okay, and,
Thanks,
let's
everybody
see.
for reminding me,
And,
Mine's on the table at home.
and the minutes go into,
Well, thanks for doing the minutes, Beatrice.
well, I got strong arms into it, Barbara. Well, I have very big shoes to fill, because Barbara was so professional.
Well, like I said, you're doing amazing.
Right.
Absolutely
I
amazing.
struggle. Thank you.
And I'll get the stuff that I said on.
Yeah, make it bullet points, make it,
Yeah.
make it, I try to make things as concise and get the journey.
You could just copy and paste it.
Oh, well, no, I'm pretty hopeless at that kind of thing. That's why I have children to help me with my technology.
You guys have a good evening.
Thank you. I may well do this back, but I meant to make it worth my while having printed it all out. God, there was so much stuff that she'd sent. I was sort of wading through it, and then there was sort of the revised ones, and disregard this. And yes, I know I read through all of his stuff
Yeah,
weeks ago, and
the-
then I couldn't quite.
It got a little bit confusing.
It's